What we hear from these excerpts of the Hur report interview in October 8th and October 9th, 2023, is a President Biden who is not functioning the way one would want and expect a President of the United States to be able to function. He's having difficulty with dates. He loses his train of thought quite a bit. You might remember also that President Biden asserted executive privilege to block these audio tapes from coming out even after the transcripts have been released. The transcripts released right before Robert Hur testified before Congress were buried in a lot of the coverage of Hur's testimony, where he was attacked by Democrats for his apparently offensive characterization of President Biden as somebody who he was not going to prosecute for mishandling documents because Robert Hur said he would come across to a jury as a well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory, when of course that is, if anything, a charitable version of how Biden comes across in these tapes. We also have to remember that this is the period of time when his close aides and family members start really sequestering him off from even members of his own cabinet, administration, Democratic officials, donors, because of these moments of non-functioning Biden that are happening with an increased frequency. I want to throw to another clip. This one is a clip of when Robert Hur, who is investigating mishandling of documents by President Biden, then former Vice President Biden in 2017, 2018, wants to ask him about this period where he moves from the Vice President's residence to a house on Chainbridge Road in Virginia, and that is where the conversation begins. Let's roll that clip.
I don't know. This is what, 2017, 18, that area?
Yes, sir.
Remember, in this time frame, my son is either been deployed or is dying. And so it was, and by the way, there were still a lot of people at the time when I got out of the Senate that were encouraging me to run in this period.
So what you heard there is Robert Hur just trying to talk about the investigative matter at hand, which is when Joe Biden shared these classified documents with others. But Vice President Biden is unable to figure out when this time period is. 2017 to 2018, he says, you have to remember that's when my son Beau was either deployed or dying. Now, Beau's death is obviously tragic, but that happened in 2015, not 2017, 2018. And Beau deployed in 2008, 2009. So he really doesn't have a grasp on dates, even dates surrounding one of the most important, significant, and traumatizing events of his life, the death of his son Beau in May 2015. And you might remember later on when the Hur report comes out, and Robert Hur explains to the world that while he thinks President Biden mishandled classified information, he isn't going to prosecute him because he would come across as a well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory. President Biden blames Robert Hur for bringing up Beau's death. Robert Hur, as you heard, did not bring up Beau's death. And yet the Democratic establishment, led by President Biden, also Vice President Kamala Harris and others, went after Robert Hur for that false assertion, but also for characterizing President Biden in a way that, frankly, seems rather charitable. Anyway, we have a lot more about this. My co-author, Alex Thompson, who broke this release of this tape with Axios, with his colleague Mark Caputo at Axios. Alex Thompson and I have a book coming out on this topic, Original Sin. It drops Tuesday, and you'll find out much more about how bad it really was behind the scenes.